In a world filled with distractions and superficial connections, the Zen Monkey and the Lotus Flower by Tenpa Yeshe offers a refreshing exploration of wisdom through 52 enchanting stories. Each tale unfolds valuable lessons that encourage us to reflect on our lives, embrace our experiences, and connect more deeply with ourselves and others. Join me on this journey as we uncover the insights hidden within these narratives. Story 1. The Zen Monkey. A young monkey was endlessly distracted by the sights and sounds of the forest. Every shiny object and rustling leaf pulled him in different directions, leaving him exhausted and unfocused. One day he met an old sage who told him, "Your mind is like a monkey jumping from thought to thought. To find peace, learn to sit still and observe." The monkey began to practice mindfulness, noticing the beauty around him without feeling compelled to chase it. Over time, he found joy in simply being present, teaching others the power of focus. Story 2. The Lotus Seed. A gardener planted a lotus seed in muddy water, nurturing it with care. As the days passed, the seed struggled to break through the murky surface. But the gardener whispered, "Patience, dear seed. The muck is your nourishment." Eventually, the lotus blossomed, rising above the water's surface in stunning beauty. This story illustrates that often our struggles can be the fertile ground for our growth. Just like the lotus, we must embrace our challenges to emerge stronger. Story 3. The Wise Old Tortoise. In a village, a young hare boasted about his speed, often mocking the slow tortoise. Tired of the hare's taunts, the tortoise proposed a race. The hare, confident in his abilities, took a nap mid-race, while the tortoise plodded steadily toward the finish line. When the hare awoke, he was shocked to see the tortoise crossing the finish line. This tale reminds us that consistency and perseverance often triumph over arrogance and haste. Story 4. The Empty Cup. A professor, eager to teach a novice, poured tea into a cup until it overflowed. The novice exclaimed, "Stop! It's full." The professor replied, "Just like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and beliefs. To learn, you must first empty your cup." This story emphasizes the importance of open-mindedness and the willingness to let go of preconceived notions to absorb new knowledge. Story 5. The Two Wolves. A grandfather shared a story with his grandson about two wolves inside everyone, one representing anger, jealousy, and hatred, the other embodying love, kindness, and peace. The boy asked, "Which wolf wins?" The grandfather replied, "The one you feed." This poignant tale highlights the power of choice in our emotional and spiritual lives, reminding us to nurture positivity over negativity. Story 6. The River of Thoughts. A Zen master taught his disciples to visualize their thoughts as leaves floating down a river. Instead of grabbing onto the leaves, they should watch them drift away. This practice of detachment allows us to acknowledge our thoughts without becoming overwhelmed by them, fostering a sense of calm and clarity. Story 7. The Bamboo Tree. A farmer nurtured a bamboo seed, watering and fertilizing it for 5 years without seeing any growth. He was ready to give up when suddenly the bamboo sprouted and shot up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. This illustrates that growth often happens below the surface before it becomes visible. Patience and faith in the process are essential. Story 8. The Silent Bell. In a monastery, a young monk became frustrated with the incessant ringing of the temple bell. One day, the abbot instructed him to ring the bell only when he truly felt the need to share a profound insight. Over time, the monk learned that silence can be just as powerful as words, and he began to value the quiet moments of reflection. Story 9. The Goldfish's Wisdom. A goldfish swam in circles, repeating the same routine day after day. One day, a curious child asked why he never explored the larger pond. The goldfish replied, "I'm afraid of the unknown." The child, puzzled, responded, "But how will you ever know what lies beyond if you never take a chance?" The goldfish paused, realizing that its world was only as big as the limits it placed on itself. Encouraged by the child's words, it took a deep breath and swam beyond the familiar, discovering vibrant plants and fish it had never imagined. This story teaches us that fear can confine us, and stepping out of our comfort zones can lead to growth and new experiences. Story 10. The stone and the water? A stone lay still while water flowed around it. Over time, the stone becomes smooth and polished. The stone, once jagged and rough, was now a shining example of how time and resilience can soften even the hardest surfaces. It had not resisted the water, but had allowed the gentle force to shape it over the years, teaching that steady, consistent effort, even in the face of obstacles, can transform us in ways we never imagined. This story reminds us that true strength often lies in adaptability and persistence, rather than force. Just as water carves its path, we too can navigate challenges with patience and grace. Story 11. The Mirror of Truth. A woman gazed into a mirror and lamented her flaws. An elder approached and said, "This mirror reflects not only your appearance, but your inner self. Embrace your imperfections. They are part of your journey." This story encourages self-acceptance and the understanding that we are all beautifully imperfect. Story 12. The Fire of Anger. A monk watched as a fire burned fiercely, consuming everything in its path. He reflected, "Anger is like this fire. It can destroy or transform." He learned to channel his anger into passion for positive change, illustrating that our emotions can be powerful tools if directed wisely. Story 13. The Gift of Listening. A young man sought wisdom from an elder. Instead of offering advice, the elder simply listened. After hours of silence, the young man realized he had found clarity within himself. This story emphasizes the importance of active listening, allowing others to find their own answers through our presence. Story 14. The Weaver's Pattern. A weaver carefully crafted a tapestry, intricately weaving each thread. When asked about the process, the weaver replied, "Each thread is essential. Even the knots and mistakes contribute to the final piece." This tale illustrates that our life experiences, including failures, are vital in shaping who we are. Story 15. The Cloud in the Sky. A cloud complained about its weight, burdened by the water it carried. The sky replied, "Let go, and you will see the beauty in your release." When the cloud finally let go, it rained gently, nourishing the earth. This story serves as a reminder that letting go of our burdens can lead to unexpected blessings. Story 16. The Wisdom of the Pen. A student approached a wise teacher with a pen in hand. "What is the secret to writing beautifully?" the teacher asked. "To write from the heart," the student replied. The teacher smiled and said, "Then first, write from your heart. The pen will follow." This encourages authenticity and expression, reminding us that true beauty in words comes from sincerity, not technique. The teacher's words emphasize that when we focus on our inner truth, the rest, like the pen, will naturally align. Story 17. The Scent of a Flower. A flower bloomed in a garden, filling the air with its fragrance. A passerby remarked, "You smell beautiful." The flower replied, "I do not bloom for your admiration, but for the joy of being." This teaches us that our worth is not dependent on others' perceptions, but on our own intrinsic value. Story 18. The Shadow of Doubt. A traveler journeyed through a dark forest, plagued by self-doubt. He met an old woman who said, "Your shadow follows you, but it cannot harm you. Embrace it, and it will fade." As the traveler embraced his shadow, he found that his steps became lighter, and the darkness around him began to dissolve. This story encourages us to confront our fears rather than let them control us. Story 19. The Thread of Connection. A spider wove a delicate web, connecting various branches. When a storm threatened, the web held strong. This illustrates that our connections with others can provide strength and resilience during difficult times. Though the wind howled and the rain battered the web, its intricate threads held firm, showing that true bonds, like the spider's web, endure even the fiercest challenges. Story 20. The Whispering Wind. A child heard the wind whisper secrets in the trees. When asked about the whispers, the trees replied, "We speak of change and acceptance." This story highlights the importance of being attuned to the world around us and embracing the inevitability of change. The child, curious and open-hearted, listened intently, learning that each gust carried wisdom about life's transformations. This interaction reminded them that just as the seasons shift, so too do our circumstances, and embracing this fluidity can lead to personal growth and understanding. Story 21. The Silent River. A river flowed quietly through the valley, its surface smooth and calm. One day a storm stirred it into a frenzy. After the storm, the river returned to its tranquil state. This teaches us that, like the river, we can endure turbulent times and find peace once again. Story 22. The Two Paths. A traveler faced two paths in the forest, one well-trodden and the other overgrown. Choosing the overgrown path, he discovered hidden treasures along the way. As he journeyed further, he encountered unique flora and fauna, each revealing new insights about resilience and adaptability. This experience taught him that sometimes taking risks and venturing off the beaten path can unlock opportunities that are not visible to those who only follow the crowd. This story reminds us that the less conventional choices often lead to unexpected rewards. Story 23. The Language of Flowers. A gardener spoke to her flowers every day, nurturing them with love. As they bloomed vibrantly, she realized they responded to her kindness. This emphasizes the power of love and attention in fostering growth, not only in plants but in relationships. Story 24. The Gift of Time. An elderly man offered his time to those in need, listening and sharing stories. People found comfort in his presence, realizing that time is one of the most valuable gifts we can give to others. This encourages us to invest time in our relationships. Story 25. The Balancing Act. A tightrope walker practiced daily, stepping onto the thin wire high above the ground, where even a slight misstep could lead to a fall. At first, he struggled to maintain his balance, each wobble triggering a rush of fear that threatened to derail his progress. However, as he continued to practice, he learned to quiet the voices of doubt in his head. This journey taught him that balance in life is not just about skill. It requires a blend of self-confidence, patience, and the courage to embrace uncertainty. Story 26. The Radiance of the Sun. The sun shone brightly, illuminating the world beneath it. One day it asked a flower, "What is your secret to happiness?" The flower replied, "To bloom where I am planted." This story reminds us that our happiness often depends on our perspective and acceptance of our circumstances. Story 27. The Strength of Roots. A tree stood tall and proud, its branches reaching for the sky. However, it was the unseen roots that provided it with strength and stability. During a fierce storm, the tree swayed but remained upright, thanks to its deep roots. This story illustrates that our foundation, our values, relationships, and inner strength carries us through life's tempests. Just as the tree relies on its roots, we must cultivate our inner resilience to withstand challenges. Story 28. The Lantern in the Dark. A young boy wandered through a dark forest feeling lost and afraid. He stumbled upon an old man holding a lantern. The man said, "This lantern doesn't dispel darkness. It simply illuminates the path ahead." The boy learned that while we cannot eliminate fear, we can find our way through it by focusing on the next step rather than the entire journey. This story teaches us to take life one step at a time, trusting that each small action leads us closer to our destination. Story 29. The Bamboo Grove. In a serene bamboo grove, a wise monk observed the harmony of the swaying stalks. He explained to his students, "Bamboo bends but does not break. Flexibility is strength." This lesson encourages us to adapt to life's challenges while staying grounded in our values. The monk's insights remind us that resilience often involves being pliable in the face of adversity, allowing us to recover and grow from difficult experiences. Story 30. The Mirror of Compassion. A woman looked into a mirror and saw only her flaws. A compassionate friend approached and said, "You see a reflection, but I see a beautiful soul." This encounter opened her eyes to the importance of self-compassion and how we often judge ourselves more harshly than others do. It reminds us that recognizing our worth is crucial for personal growth and happiness. Story 31. The Tapestry of Life. A weaver worked tirelessly on a tapestry, stitching together threads of various colors. One day, a curious child asked, "Why use so many colors?" The weaver replied, "Each thread represents an experience, a joy or a sorrow. Together they create the beauty of life." This story encourages us to embrace all aspects of our journey, understanding that both the bright and dark threads contribute to our unique narrative. Story 32. The Garden of Thoughts. A gardener planted various seeds, nurturing each with care. Over time, he noticed that some grew into vibrant flowers, while others became weeds. He realized that, like thoughts, we must tend to our minds diligently, nurturing positive thoughts while uprooting negativity. This story emphasizes the importance of mindfulness in cultivating a healthy mindset. Story 33. The Silent Teacher. A teacher in a classroom never spoke a word but conveyed profound lessons through her actions. She showed kindness to everyone and took time to listen. Her students learned the power of empathy and respect through her silent example. This story highlights that our actions often speak louder than words, and we can teach valuable lessons simply by how we treat others. Story 34. The Dance of the Fireflies. On a warm summer night, fireflies danced in the darkness, illuminating the night with their soft glow. A child asked, "Why do they light up?" An elder replied, "They share their light with others," reminding us that we all have the power to bring joy to those around us. This story teaches us that acts of kindness, no matter how small, can have a profound impact on others. Story 35. The Flow of Water. A river meandered through the landscape, adapting to obstacles in its path. It taught those who observed it that flexibility is key to overcoming challenges. When faced with rocks, the river would either flow around or wear them down over time. This illustrates the importance of resilience and adaptability in life. We should strive to flow with the currents rather than fight against them. Story 36. The Gift of Presence. A child gifted a small box to his grandfather. When the grandfather opened it, he found nothing inside. Confused, he asked, "What is this?" The child replied, "It's the gift of my time and attention. I promise to spend it with you." This simple story emphasizes the value of being present and spending quality time with loved ones, reminding us that our most precious gifts are often intangible. Story 37. The Climbing Vine. A vine climbed up a wall, seeking the sunlight. It encountered various obstacles, bricks, shadows, and overhangs, but never stopped reaching for the light. This tale encourages us to remain determined in our pursuits, overcoming obstacles with perseverance and tenacity. Just like the vine, we must continuously strive for growth, regardless of the barriers we face. Story 38. The Wisdom of the Stone. A stone sat at the bottom of a river, observing the flow of water above. One day a fish swam by and asked, "What have you learned from watching the water?" The stone replied, "I've learned that life flows and changes, but I remain steadfast. Find strength in your core." This story illustrates the balance between adaptability and stability, reminding us that while change is constant, our core values should remain firm. Story 39. The Journey of the Snail. A snail slowly made its way up a mountain, taking its time to enjoy the view. Other creatures rushed past, but the snail appreciated every moment. This tale teaches us the value of patience and mindfulness, encouraging us to savor our journeys rather than racing toward our destinations. Story 40. The Storyteller's Gift. A storyteller traveled from village to village, sharing tales that inspired and taught life lessons. People gathered eagerly to listen, realizing that stories carry wisdom that transcends time and place. This emphasizes the importance of sharing our experiences and knowledge with others, fostering connection and understanding. Story 41. The Whispering Leaves. In a peaceful forest, the leaves whispered secrets to those who listened. A traveler paused to hear their stories, discovering that nature holds valuable lessons. As the traveler listened more deeply, he realized that the leaves' whispers were guiding him to slow down and embrace stillness. This taught him that true clarity often emerges when we quiet our minds and allow ourselves to connect with the subtle voices around us. This story illustrates the importance of tuning into the world around us, recognizing that wisdom often comes from unexpected places. Story 42. The weight of expectations. A young bird felt immense pressure to fly before it was ready. One day it fell from its branch, and an elder bird comforted it. Flight takes time and practice, the elder explained. This story teaches us to be gentle with ourselves and recognize that everyone's journey unfolds at its own pace. Story 43. The canvas of life. An artist painted a canvas, layering colors and textures. When asked about the process, the artist replied, "Every stroke adds depth. Mistakes become part of the masterpiece." This emphasizes that life is a work in progress, and embracing imperfections can lead to greater beauty. Story 44. The tree's gift. A tree offered shade and shelter to weary travelers. One day a traveler asked, "What do you gain from giving?" The tree replied, "The joy of providing comfort is my reward." This story illustrates that true fulfillment often comes from selfless acts of kindness and service to others. Story 45. The path of peace. A monk walked a path of pebbles, finding tranquility with each step. As the monk continued his journey, he noticed that even the smallest pebble could disturb his footing if he was not mindful. He used this as a reminder that life's challenges, no matter how small, must be met with patience and awareness to maintain balance and serenity. This story emphasizes that cultivating inner peace is a continuous process, shaped by our thoughts and actions. Story 46. The Dance of Seasons. A tree experienced the changing seasons, shedding its leaves in autumn and blossoming in spring. It learned that change is a natural part of life. As the tree stood tall through the years, it noticed that its roots grew stronger with each passing cycle, grounding it firmly during even the harshest winters. This teaches us that embracing life's transformations not only helps us survive, but also strengthens us for future challenges. Story 47. The Bond of Friendship. Two friends supported each other through thick and thin. One day, one friend faced a significant challenge and felt overwhelmed. The other said, "Together, we can face anything." Over time, their bond grew even deeper as they realized that the true value of friendship lay in facing adversity side by side, never allowing the other to feel alone. This illustrates the strength of friendship and the importance of supporting one another during difficult times. Story 48. The Mountain's Wisdom. A mountain stood tall and silent, witnessing countless storms and sunrises. A traveler asked, "What is your secret?" The mountain replied, "I remain steadfast, knowing that both storms and sunshine are temporary." This teaches us to find strength and stability, reminding us that challenges are part of life's cycle. Story 49. The Gift of Forgiveness. A woman carried a heavy burden of anger and resentment. One day, she encountered a wise elder who said, "Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself." The woman hesitated at first, thinking forgiveness meant condoning the hurt, but she soon realized it was about releasing herself from the emotional weight. By letting go, she found a newfound sense of freedom, allowing her heart to heal and rediscover joy in her life. This story highlights the power of forgiveness in freeing ourselves from the past and embracing peace. Story 50. The Ripple of Kindness. A child performed small acts of kindness, like sharing toys and helping others. One day she noticed how her actions inspired others to do the same. Over time, these simple gestures not only brought smiles to those around her, but also transformed the atmosphere, cultivating a culture of care and empathy. This illustrates that kindness creates ripples, encouraging a cycle of compassion that spreads through communities. Story 51. The Heart of a Child. A child approached a stranger, offering a smile and a helping hand. The stranger, touched by the child's innocence, realized that love and connection are universal. The stranger later reflected on how this small encounter renewed their faith in humanity, showing that even the simplest interactions can spark profound change. This story reminds us that genuine kindness can bridge gaps between people, fostering understanding and unity. Story 52. The Eternal Dance. At the end of the journey, the Zen master reflected on all he had learned and shared, saying, "Life is an eternal dance, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but always beautiful." In this dance, the master found joy in both the highs and lows, realizing that true beauty lies in accepting the fluidity and unpredictability of existence. This final story encapsulates the essence of the book, encouraging us to embrace the rhythm of life and appreciate the moments we share with one another. These stories from the Zen monkey and the lotus flower remind us of the profound lessons embedded in everyday life. They encourage us to reflect, grow, and connect more deeply with ourselves and others. Thank you for joining me on this journey through wisdom and insight. If you enjoyed the audiobook, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more book summaries that help you expand your mind. Drop a comment below to let us know which book you'd like us to explore next, and we'll consider it for our upcoming episodes. We look forward to bringing you more valuable content right here on Page by Page. Until next time, keep learning and growing.